Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Green Tech Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Green Tech Today, the Twit Network's Top 25 Green Tech Innovators series. This episode of Green Tech Today is brought to you by the Eco-Imagination Challenge from GE. GE and its partners are awarding $200 million to ideas that help build the next generation power grid for the 21st century. For more information and to view and comment on ideas, go to ecoimagination.com/challenge. Planes, trains, automobiles, and buses. Just about everyone is getting into the clean energy game these days, but buses are a mode of transportation where a clean energy source really makes sense, especially when that source comes from hydrogen fuel cells. AC Transit in Alameda, California is currently testing a small fleet of hydrogen-powered buses on routes through the East Bay area and hope to show that it's a worthy investment. Come with us and get on the clean energy bus. I'm here at AC Transit with Jaimie Levin. He's the Director of Alternative Fuels Policy and Marketing. Now, Jaimie, why fuel cell buses?
Oh, they're absolutely an amazing vehicle that provides clean benefits to our community and a better quality of life. They're quiet, they're zero emission out of the tailpipe. They don't have the vibration of a standard vehicle. They're very smooth because they're all electric, and they have the potential to address global warming problems. That's really important in terms of the long run.
Yeah, and in terms of the fuel, these are hydrogen fuel cells. So how do you fuel the buses?
Well, first of all, we have to make hydrogen, and we're doing that with this new station that we're starting construction here in the background. Okay. Part of the hydrogen will actually be made from solar electricity. So we'll take the power of the sun to make hydrogen, which really stores the energy, and then we'll fuel these buses, and we have storage tanks on the roof that will then operate the fuel cells at the back of the bus that puts out over 120 kilowatts of power to drive these buses up the hills of Oakland and on our regular transit routes.
Okay, so the construction site that's behind us is actually going to be a fueling station. And how many buses will it be able to handle? How much fuel will it be creating?
Well, we'll be able to fuel as many as 12 buses, fuel them in sequence, but we can handle more buses by buying more fuel. Some of the fuel here will be made with solar, and other fuel we will purchase as a liquid that will be provided to us by our partner Linde. And so our ability to fuel more buses as conveniently as we fuel 6 or 12 or some smaller number, it's just a matter of buying more fuel. And that's what we do when we fuel diesel buses. We just buy more fuel.
Right. For the conversion using solar energy, is all of this coming from natural gas? What's the ultimate source of energy?
Well, the solar hydrogen is made from the sun, so it splits the water molecule, and we'll have here on site an electrolyzer that will split that molecule using the power of the sun, and it will split it into hydrogen and oxygen. That will provide a third of our fuel. The remainder of the fuel, the bulk of the fuel, will come from reforming natural gas with water. It's still not carbon neutral or carbon free, but compared to diesel buses, these buses using hydrogen from natural gas reformation reduces our carbon emissions by 43%. And then when we ultimately can make all of our fuel with solar and wind and renewables, then we will completely eliminate CO2 emissions. And that's, of course, very important for the health of our planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on from fuel, you're building a station here, but is one of the benefits or one of the, I guess, the reasons to have fuel cells on buses the part of the infrastructure of you have a central fueling station?
Well, it's certainly easier to fuel buses because they're tethered to a central location, so you don't really need a network of stations that, for instance, are certainly necessary for automotive applications. But what's interesting about the station is that we will have two dispensers, one for public access on the street side and the other that we'll use for our buses. So we're showing that we can be a part of that distributed network of hydrogen stations. And ultimately, with such a network, fuel cell cars really can be used in the same way that we use regular cars to drive from point A to point B, because they can be refueled very quickly within minutes.
Right. Well, speaking of driving, you said that these buses are quiet, so can we go for a ride?
Absolutely. I'm happy to show you just how great they are.
Excellent.
Yes. Right. Okay. So here, of course, we have the entrance that every passenger must pass through to pay fares, and please come on board.
Get a free ride today.
Yes, right.
This is good. Can we turn on the bus?
Sure. So, the controls are pretty the same than a regular diesel bus. Basically, a master switch and a start button. So I start the ignition switch, and then now it's just going to push the start button, flash, and then send in a command to start the bus. Starting right there, you hear a little.
And that's it.
That's it. Now we had to wait like a couple minutes to start the fuel cell, but I can move the bus now, but it's going to run on batteries only until the fuel cell kicks in.
Okay.
That's like 2 minutes. As for the batteries for the engine store, it's the cooling system for the batteries 100%. So you can do a lot of stuff. That's the air pressure of the bus on the air tanks. That's the secondary side, 150 psi. And that's it. So the steady charge of the battery is 92.4%. This is the outside temperature, 70 degrees.
This is amazingly quiet. This bus is moving. I'm not here. I mean, I'm hearing the sound of motors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the wheels moving.
Yeah, that's about it. That's one of the really great features of the vehicle. You can actually hear yourself think, and you can hear you can carry on a conversation with your fellow passengers, and that's what I think most people really notice right off, more than the fact that there's no emission from the tailpipe, that there's a clean air benefit to this vehicle. So that, plus also the smoothness of the ride. You know, I ride the bus every day to and from work and from my home, and I've had the benefit of occasionally, not always, being able to ride the fuel cell bus, and it really changes the whole equation. It changes the image of what bus transportation, public transit is in urban areas. And so we see this evolving in a lot of very positive ways, not just in terms of public health, in terms of global health, but also in terms of transit as an attractive means of transport, which of course is important in the overall scheme of getting more people out of cars and onto public transit to reduce traffic.
How do you make it an attractive option?
Exactly.
In terms of safety, what considerations are being taken into play here? Electric vehicles, there's often a chirp or a chime noise that they can make when coming up to an intersection. And I know in San Francisco, for example, there are lots of people who get hit by buses all the time. So what's going into?
Well, I think two things should be noted. First of all, the buses are very quiet, and we've talked about maybe adding a chime or a bell that would ring to get people's attention. But still, it's a large vehicle, and most people really do feel or know or hear or sense that the bus is coming. So it's not a big safety issue for us. I think we look at it more as a image issue than a safety issue. The technology of hydrogen and fuel cells, the way the systems are designed, the characteristics of hydrogen are such that they're actually much safer than what we're already accustomed to with a standard gasoline or diesel vehicle, which is a liquid fuel that can emit fumes, that can hang around for a while, and that are very much subject to potential safety problems. Where hydrogen is very buoyant, and in the open atmosphere, it's virtually gone before you can ignite it. As long as, in our case, we control it under with tanks and piping and what have you, and so we're able to capture its value in the overall system. But it's safe. We've put on over 270,000 miles, actually approaching 300,000 miles of travel with these buses. We've carried over 700,000 passengers. We've not had one safety incident whatsoever.
Which is good to hear. In terms of getting this program started and getting it to continue, how are you getting it funded?
Well, that's a good question, because we cannot use standard operating funds that we operate our transit system to pursue advanced technology. And we've had to go out to the federal government, to the state government, to regional sources to get funds that otherwise would not have been available to us. And we've been very successful at that. We've raised now over $81 million to develop this program. And our employees, our customers are very proud of the fact that AC Transit is a leader, a worldwide leader, in pursuing technology which we all believe is not only here and now providing the clean air benefits and the quiet sounds and what have you, but is really the future of our industry, the future of making our global environment a much healthier environment, a sustainable source of energy and transportation. So we've raised the money from outside sources. We've been very successful at that, and that's what has sustained the financial requirements for this program.
Okay, and looking to the future, how do you see the environment shaping up? Last night, to put this in a timely aspect, the State of the Union address.
Yes.
President Obama said we need to be putting more resources towards alternative energy sources, fuels programs. Do you think there's actually going to be money out there for the future?
Well, I hope so. I mean, realistically, these are not the best of times. So we have a large deficit. We've had huge economic challenges on a global level. But I'm quite honestly encouraged by the need to make investments, which the president spoke about. We can't crawl into a hole. We need to really pursue innovation in clean technology. He spoke about that. In fact, his administration has funded over $12 million of recent grants to build our solar system, to build a stationary fuel cell system that will be more energy efficient than the grid power that we use now out of standard grid transmission power, and certainly a lot more clean than, in terms of carbon emissions, than grid power. So those projects, which are part of our program here, were funded by the federal government. I'm hoping that there will be money to further expand this program and to establish centers of excellence, not just here, but in other parts of the country, so that you can really start increasing the demand of this type of technology in order to bring price down.
Yeah, and that's a crucial point. How much does it take to get one of these buses compared to a diesel bus? Is it substantially more?
It is. It's a research vehicle. This vehicle was close to 6 times more expensive than a standard diesel bus.
Wow.
But look, in energy, energy and transportation. It's not like you can say, well, in 5 years we're going to hit the peak of our oil reserves, and so we need to be prepared and start right now. It's a 20, 30, 40-year transition period, and we have to plan for that over a long period of time. So it's not too soon to be doing this kind of development work, these kinds of demonstrations, and putting capital into this so that as a society we are ready, we are prepared to make that change from what is a non-renewable, non-sustainable form of energy and transportation to one that is renewable, sustainable, and cleaner.
We're partnering with 4 of the biggest venture capital firms in the clean energy space, 3 in the US, 1 in Europe. Again, we think that the combination of GE investment and venture capital investment is going to allow us to increase innovation. It's going to allow us to accelerate new ideas. It puts us shoulder to shoulder with some of the smartest tech investors, and we can use what I would call the industrial clout of GE to bring technologies to this marketplace faster.
GE announced its challenge at a San Francisco event along with its 4 venture capital partners. Emerald Technology Ventures, Foundation Capital, Kleiner Perkins Caulfield & Byers, and Rockport Capital Partners have all joined with GE. Ideas from companies and individuals can be entered through the ecoimagination.com website for the next 10 weeks. So check out ecoimagination.com.
We're back talking about the hydrogen fuel cell buses for AC Transit. I'm with Doug Byrne. He is the project manager of operations and maintenance for the ZEBA demo program. Doug, hello. Tell me about the ZEBA demo program.
Well, it's a joint program with all of the transit agencies in the Bay Area. And together we're all going to operate 12 fuel cell buses in and around the Bay Area and demonstrate to see the feasibility in the long term of how the technology will work in a fleet application.
So let's take a look at the bus. How is this bus different from a normal diesel bus?
Well, it is a standard 40-foot bus platform, but it's all electric drive using the fuel cell that provides all the electric power. No engine at all and very quiet.
Yeah, so no engine means very quiet.
Absolutely.
So how does it drive? What do we have powering it?
It has a 120 kilowatt fuel cell provided by United Technologies Corporation.
Can we take a look at it?
Absolutely. It's right under the hood here. And there it is. Not particularly exciting, but a big gray box that provides all the power we need, but that's where all the magic happens.
Okay, so in this gray box instead of a black box, you have hydrogen gas that comes in, and then what happens?
Hydrogen combines with oxygen in the air to produce the electricity that powers the bus.
That sounds simple enough.
Very simple.
Is there anything complicated about it?
Absolutely. All the controls. The process is very simple, but the controls to manage that process is quite complicated. So,
what kind of controls do you have to take into account?
The cooling system, the air, humidity within the stacks, and all of that, which is top secret from UTCs.
Okay. Proprietary information.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely fine. Where's the hydrogen stored on the bus?
The hydrogen is stored on the roof near the center. Total of 40 kilograms in 8 tanks, up to about 5,000 psi when it's totally full.
Wow, so it's under some high pressure.
Very high pressure, no doubt about it.
Is that a danger at all?
Well, absolutely, if it's stored at that high pressure, but the tanks have been thoroughly tested and they are certified for highway use. So they're all perfectly, I don't know how to explain it, but legal. DOT approved and suitable for road use.
Okay. Can I see where you put the hydrogen into the bus? Absolutely. How does it fuel up? To go around the corner
right
here?
Around here.
Okay.
Looks very simple. What we do is ground the vehicle here,
Okay.
And then we have a fueling nozzle right here where we plug it in, and it's really as simple as that. Once the service employee plugs in and attaches the cable, it's ready to go. And they simply at the station just press a button and off it goes till it's done.
What's the purpose of grounding the vehicle?
Just to dissipate any potential static charge within the vehicle. So hydrogen, again, is very flammable. So any potential, we want to reduce that, and that's what that's for.
And since it is an electric vehicle, there's probably
There's always a potential for static on any vehicle. So
exactly.
That's what that's for.
So some of the benefits, it seems like it's pretty easy to fuel.
Very easy to fuel. No possibility of spilling. It's a gaseous. If there was a leak, it's non-toxic, no odor, and it dissipates very quickly. But again, it's highly flammable, so you have to take that into consideration.
Okay, and the byproduct, what kind of emissions are we looking at?
Well, out of this vehicle, the only emission is the water. Potentially some of the water you see here. Most of
dripping?
This dripping right here, and most of it is dissipated in a vapor that you don't see, but this is part of it as well. Some of the vapor is dissipated out of the top. So it's really, really simple.
That sounds very simple. No, normally we talk about efficiency of vehicles, buses, in miles per gallon. So what's the gas mileage you get? I mean, a diesel bus, we're probably looking at what, like 4 to 5 miles per gallon?
Our fleet average for our diesel buses is about 4.25 miles per gallon. These are operating at about a diesel gallon equivalent right now of about 6.8 miles per gallon. So it's very good. They're about 60% better than our diesel fuel.
Yeah, it sounds like
fuel economy.
Yeah, it sounds like the fuel economy on this is a pretty good deal.
And when you consider that it's about 4,000 pounds heavier than a standard diesel bus, it's very efficient.
So can you show me where things are located up on top of the bus?
Absolutely. At the very rear, we have the Enerdel lithium-ion battery pack.
Okay.
It resides right at the very top.
And in lithium-ion, because of weight considerations?
Weight, it's considerably lighter, and the hope is that it's a lot more reliable than other technologies, and it appears to be so right now. Next, we have the HVAC system that's there. Again, all electrically driven. Immediately in front of that, we have the 8 high-pressure tank system that holds a total of 40 kilograms of hydrogen on board at 5,000 psi. And then at the very front, we have the cooling system for the bus, which includes the fuel cell power plant and also all the drive system components.
So there's a lot of stuff on top of the bus.
Absolutely.
As opposed to, normally there's not much on top of the bus.
Usually just an HVAC system, yes.
Right.
So this is a lot of different, but specifically the fueling system, we want it up there because should there be a leak, hydrogen escapes and goes up in the area. So it keeps it out of the passenger area.
So the weight of the bus, is that the part of the fuel cell and the tanks for the hydrogen? And
right, all the additional equipment to make all of the systems operated works out to about 4,000 pounds more than a standard diesel bus, but keeping in mind our first generation bus was 8,000 pounds heavier, so this iteration is quite a bit lighter in weight.
Yeah, and are you collecting information about how these buses perform in order to be able to even improve the next generation?
Absolutely. We take detailed information on a regular basis on fuel economy, costs for maintenance, life cycle costs. We also share this information directly with NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab, and they collect our data and then they post it on their website.
Oh, so it's actually becoming publicly available.
Absolutely.
So that anybody can see.
All of the statistics here is publicly available.
That's good to know.
Very good. And all independently done, which is excellent for us.
Now, in working, managing this project, how is this to work with, and where do you want to see it go?
I love this stuff. Who would have thought that 10 years ago I would have been doing this in my career here? So it's great stuff. There's nobody that likes a diesel engine more than me, but I can see the problems that it has, and this is a technology that moves away from those problems, and I think it's worth exploring. It may not be the end all, but it's certainly a possibility for a solution to our emissions. So I like it. It's fun. really is fun. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's great. I love it. It's good to have people working on projects like this that are, excited about what they're doing.
It's good stuff. It really is. It really is.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
So everybody, if you're interested, AC Transit, hop on the bus. Take a ride on a fuel cell vehicle. That's it for this episode of Green Tech Today. Subscribe at twit.tv/GTT and never miss a show. If you have a question or a comment, email us at greentechtoday@twit.tv. Or you can leave a voicemail at 415-GT-TODAY.